Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Thursday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of all Vedic literature. And, Kaustubha, we were talking about this the other day, the essence of Vedic literature, and I tried to quote those shlokas about the 12th canto, right? This Bhagavatam we're studying has 12 cantos or 12 books. I never even knew what a canto was until I read the Srimad Bhagavatam. But I guess they're books of a bigger book, right?
Help us with canto. Yeah.
So I wanted to, I wanted to read these. I'll just read 3 verses.
About what? What's your point here?
About Kali Yuga and about the essence.
Hold it.
Of Kali Yuga.
Hold it. This is a Krishna miracle.
Why?
Because just moments ago, I was pulling up the 3rd chapter of the 12th canto and with these verses about the Kali Yuga. Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
That's a Krishna miracle.
That's see, now you're a believer. Never saw his face. He's a believer.
That's a Krishna miracle. Is it the last few verses of the 12th?
Let me read them because maybe the miracle's not a miracle. Let me read them.
All right.
So we're talking about the essence. First, we want to get into what Kali Yuga is. This is a great verse to learn. It's from the 1st canto on Kali Yuga. Canto 1, chapter 1, text 10 is, Kaustubha, you probably know this. O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed.
Manda sumanda matiyo manda bhaga upadutaha.
Yeah, manda bhaga hiupatrutaha. So that's one of these things. Just like the certain neighborhoods have a culture about them, certain countries have a culture about them, certain seasons, right? There's a culture with summer, a summer culture. There's a culture of Kali Yuga, and this is what's described here. And it's just, of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, but this is a general idea of what's going on in Kali Yuga. Quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, disturbed. Check. all of the above.
Disturbed.
Now, this is like the beautiful... Now, that was the 1st canto. Now we're going to wrap this whole thing up with the 12th canto. We went through all these processes of yoga. Went through all these great examples. We spoke about different ages and how they did things in different ages.
Yeah.
All right, wait a second. I blew it.
I got it for you. I think I know where you're going.
You got it.
Okay,
here it is. 12:351.
That's where I thought you were going.
Right? Kalar dosha nidhi rajan asti heko mahanguna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. We can all learn this one.
Yeah.
I'll put that on the board, Mara. 12:351. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. we experience that. I mean, this is something tangible. You can experiencing the power of it in japa, in kirtan, and most of all, it's that approach or that step towards Krishna, where Krishna, we were saying yesterday in Sweet Baby Krishna, he's our dearest friend. You come a little towards Krishna, he's all over you, right? You think about, hey, I think I want to be spiritual. Krishna's right there waiting for your call, like this, eager for your call, sitting by the phone, right? When you pick up those beads, that's like calling Krishna. And then Krishna, oh yeah. You want me in your life? I've been waiting for this call. And so once we decide to recognize what we already are, Krishna's waiting. And here the 52, the next verse is, whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga, right? That's the beginning, the first age. If you put things in a circle and there can be a first one, Satya Yuga is first. It's like springtime. Whatever was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and Dwarpa Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the holy name. We got that going for us. And we'll find mantras in everything we do. Even in pujas, there's mantras behind everything. Truthfully, even in asanas, there's supposed to be mantras. Even in pranayama, there's supposed to be mantras. Mantras or sound are the most transformational. And this is what the big current goes towards in everything that we do in bhakti, is using sound to transform the consciousness. What can you do with that information? Enlighten us more, Kaustubha.
Well, this is going to be so relevant to what we're reading today. But
we didn't even talk. We didn't even talk.
We didn't even talk today. This is a Krishna miracle. But it's saying that, what's achieved in the Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu. The problem is that, like you said earlier, Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagu Padu, that our minds are disturbed in this age. We're our potential for meditation is just so weak. So it's like, okay, that's not really going to work in this age, right? And Chaita Yoga by performing sacrifices. The sacrifices that they perform, they would collect special ingredients, pure ingredients. Let me offer you something really satisfying, But like, what do we have today? It's like everything's made out of plastic. Everything, it's just like,
even like the incense we're burning or the oils are sometimes so like they're not real.
Oh, you want
to
buy
get
incense,
real
it's synthetic stuff, yeah.
To get a guru oil or incense, it's like it's impossible, practically speaking.
Yeah.
Sandalwood is practically impossible.
If you read about this, like for instance, the Rajasuya Yagna that was performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, it was difficult to perform, and you'd have to more or less like conquer the earth, get all the kings of the world to kind of like buy into the idea. It was like a whole thing, And so like we're not really capable of that either. And then it says in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, which really has to do with temple worship. But even that is like, for us in this age, the sacrifice. And let's spend today talking about sacrifice and what's really meant by this. But it's it's all boiled down to going right to the very essence. That, like you're saying, that transcendental sound, spiritual sound is of a very different nature than material sound, and it's really the basis of creation, and it's like the lifeline, like the most direct lifeline. And that if you do this, if you chant this mantra, especially like congregationally with others, if we just put aside our disturbed minds just a bit and all get together.
It's hard to do.
Stop arguing. Yeah.
I really want to stay disturbed.
I know, because there's so many good reasons to be disturbed.
By the way, scrolling through your phone is disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Even where it seems exciting, no one's feeling good after they're scrolling.
Right. Yeah. So if we can put aside our disturbed mind just for a few moments and sing together and kind of like inaugurate the presence of the divine in our community, that's actually the way we do it in this age, right? Like that'll be effective. And so let's read our verses today and let's get right into this, because there's actually a lot here to talk. Anyway, I have some personal experience that I want to talk about too that I was just experiencing just yesterday.
Well, I also just want to share that.
What do you want to share? Share
I
with
just
us.
want to share that,
It's a big sharing circle here.
people
Go ahead.
reading these like self-help books about, what you think of and how you affects where you're going and stuff like that. There's already sound in the mind already, and it's just almost sometimes haunting sounds or hateful sounds or angry sounds or exciting sounds, or it's mantras that have been plugged into our consciousness from childhood or previous lives, and we've heard them, and we sometimes play these things on repeat. They're limiting sounds, sometimes sounds that keep you tied up in a box, tied to train tracks, so to speak, or sounds that are sort of like uplifting, or it's going to be a great day today, but they're already these sounds. And so what we're doing is recognizing these sounds, replacing these sounds that don't serve us with mantras that are made to actually bring us back to a genuine identity under some false identity I've limiting temporary identity I've created in my consciousness. I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. That's a temporary limiting idea of self. I'm an American, temporary limiting, even straight, gay, trans, temporary limiting. There's more to you than a physical frame. Matter of fact, you're wearing that suit of clothes, that identity, for a sneeze, a blink. Even it seems, well, this is all I got. It's not all you got. It's a moment in history. I know that this world is fast goes by fast because I'm 55 years old, and I remember when I graduated high school. I remember the birth of my first child. I remember an old relationship I was in for many years, and it seemed like all of it seemed like a moment ago, and they were decades ago.
No, it's gone.
And it's gone, and it all seems like a dream. Ever been in a relationship and it seems like a dream now? Some old relationship, some old marriage, some old house, and it's like, where is it now? It's not here because it's all temporary. Dreams appear very, very real, like you can smell in a dream, or you can like you see so perfectly in a dream, like it's a person, like you really know, and then it's gone when you wake up. Why? Because it wasn't actually real. Because real means it's eternal. And I've been dealing with the dream world as far as I know. And this whole world is over like that. All the great joy and the good fortune you have in this world like that. All the success and all the pain, right? Some people have this painful existence and they just suffer. It's over like that.
Raghu, what you're saying is,
is the chapter just coming out of me?
Well, it is, because this chapter, I never focused on this chapter once. I went and I searched out the verse about the 4 different kinds of sacrifices. It's the last verse in the chapter that you just read, about how in the Satya Yuga one meditates on Lord Vishnu, in the Treta Yuga one performs sacrifices, in the Dwapara Yuga one does temple worship, but in the Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the Maha Mantra, one achieves the results attained in the previous yugas by those different methods. And but if you look at this chapter, it's a fascinating chapter. And the chapter is called the Bhakti-yogi, which means the song of the earth.
Ooh.
And it's the earth speaking, right? Or singing, I suppose.
Right.
And what she's saying, I'll read just like a summary. This is part of the summary of the chapter, okay? But this is the gist of the chapter. This chapter describes how the earth took note of the foolishness of the many kings bent on conquering her. It also describes how even though the age of Kali is full of faults, the glorification of the name of the Lord Hari destroys them all. Now here it goes. This is how the chapter starts. Great kings who are actually just playthings of death.
Playthings of death. Ooh.
Desire to subdue their 6 internal enemies, the 5 senses and the mind, and afterward they imagine they will go on to conquer the earth and all its oceans. Seeing their false hopes, the earth simply laughs, for eventually they all must leave this planet and go elsewhere, as have all the great kings and monarchs of the past. Moreover, after usurping the earth or some part of it, which is actually unconquerable, it must in every case be given up. Fathers, sons, brothers, friends, and relatives quarrel over it. Thus, the study of history naturally leads to the conclusion that all worldly achievements are temporary, and this conclusion should give rise to a sense of renunciation. Ultimately, the highest goal of life for any living entity is pure devotion to Lord Krishna, which annihilates all inauspiciousness. It's an incredible chapter. You know, like
It injects shelter lyrics. Ready?
all right.
But our miserly minds
Yeah.
of I, me, and mine fight in wars for what's not ours. So here's my plea for Sharanagati.
No, that's the Raghunath.
It's the rock. It's the Raghunath. Yes.
But the earth. But you're lined up with the earth. You're saying the same
Yeah.
thing that the earth is saying.
We're fighting in wars for land that you can't possess. This concept of possession of land. How? All the most powerful emperors, they're gone. Where are they?
Yeah.
It just changes hands. You establish it, you stake your ground, and then in a generation, maybe 9 generations, it's gone. It's in the hands of somebody else. We're not possessors. As soon as I get that, peace comes. Mara, write it down. We're not possessors. As soon as I get it, peace comes.
As soon as I get it, peace comes.
Once I try to possess, I suffer. Because once you try to possess something, there's anxiety that you're going to lose it.
Yeah. You know, you had another. You're on a roll here, Raghu. You had another one.
It's not me, it's God.
Okay, he's working through you. Replace the sounds that don't serve us. Right. But the nature of this sacrifice for this age, the Sankirtan, the Kirtan, right, is it does that so effectively. So let's jump into the verses today. We're going to get back to this, Raghu. This is good stuff. I'm inspired.
This is interesting. And Isabel Billadell on the chat board said that, oh my God, oh my Krishna, we do OMK here.
Okay.
OMK, exclamation point. The Bhagavatam class in Montreal quoted that verse yesterday, 12:351.
You see, there's 18,000 verses. That's a Krishna miracle, just mathematically, right?
Just mathematically, it's a Krishna miracle. And then you say, okay, out of all the shlokas, there's a few hundred that are really quoted. That's still pretty good.
Still not bad.
Still 1 in 200, 300.
Okay. All right, you ready to roll?
Yep. It's going to be a miraculous day today. I can feel it.
Okay.
Rayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati tamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmadatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born blind in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances at their lotus feet. You know, it is true, Kaustubha. This is a book just doing the prayers. What's that verse we just said? Who is to the Supreme Lord Narayan, who is praised with transcendental songs. Mm-hmm. Yesterday we were reading the transcendental songs of guess who? And Sweet Baby Krishna last night.
Was it straight from? What?
The trees. The trees.
Okay, the trees.
The trees got knocked over, and the
right.
Manigriva and Nalakuvera came out of the trees.
The twin Arjuna trees.
The twin Arjuna trees. And so these people are just like misbehaving, and the great sage, Narada, cursed them. And when a sage curses, it's always a blessing. So they got cursed to stand as trees in the courtyard of Krishna's father. And then when little baby Krishna came, he would liberate those trees. But they had they were different. It's so interesting because every tree that you see also has a backstory. These trees had a backstory, and the backstory is they did some abominable activities that made them take birth like that, and they were waiting to be liberated.
Arrogant, right? They got really arrogant,
arrogant and lusty and proud, and disrespectful to great sages. It says, okay, you want to be naked all the time? We can arrange that. What do you mean? Because when Narada came by, they were like prodigal sons, wealthy, children of the wealthy. And they just instead of just sort of like using that wealth for good things, they just were exploiting people and partying. And Narada walked by, and they were with all these girls just bathing, and all the girls were like so embarrassed. Oh my God, Narada's here, and they were just like,
Like the
"What's
ultimate
the
sage.
big deal?" And they're just walking around naked, like mouthing off to Narada. Narada said, "You'd like to be naked? We'll arrange that for you. We can. Everything can be. You want your desires fulfilled? We'll arrange it. You're going to be a tree in your next life." And then they came out of that tree by baby Krishna, and because they were conscious trees, and they just folded their hands.
And
And,
what was their experience like? Can you describe it?
and the trees, it was like, want to enjoy but can't. Frustrating. Got to do better. Got to learn lessons.
Need a better body.
Need a better, different body. But when I get out of here, I'm going to change. Imagine being conscious in a tree. It must be. Krishna's coming. I know he's coming. Imagine seeing Krishna getting tied up to that grinding mortar. The trees must have been like, yeah, it's time. It's happening. Crawl, baby Krishna, crawl.
And then afterward, crawl, little Krishna, crawl.
Crawl, little Krishna, snap us down.
And then, but they must have felt such gratitude to Narada at that point, because it seemed like Narada was just cursing them. It seemed like, why did you do that to us? That was so cruel. It wasn't. It was a blessing, because little Krishna came.
Well, they said this in the prayer. They said, actually, Narada cursed us. What we see is it was actually you behind the curse. It was your right? Because becoming realized like they were means you accept full responsibility. And what appears as problematic in your life, you stop blaming the person who's causing you problems. And when the light turns on, you start to realize, oh, it's got nothing to do with this person that's causing me problems. This person who's causing me problems has been sent by a loving being for my benefit. They were just used as pawns, in one sense, for me to become enlightened. And that's immediately think, I've been angry at Narada. Why did you curse me? This is so unfair. And I realized Narada has been sent by Krishna because I was arrogant. I was out of control. My train went off the tracks.
No, you are on fire too. What are you drinking? What's in your coffee today, Raghu? You're not drinking. You're just drinking water. I think that's the difference.
Honey.
All right.
So anyway, so the funny thing was, the last thing I want to just share is that so Krishna said, okay, you may return to the spiritual realm. And that ends the chapter.
After they're broken out of the tree.
After they broke out of the trees, offered all these very beautiful songs, prayers. But I said, man, there should be one more verse where Krishna says, oh, by the way, I'm still tied to this grinding mortar. Can you untie me? Krishna didn't ask for that. Okay.
That's because he was bound that tying up was his mother's love.
Yeah. Hey, New Jersey people, I'm going to New Jersey. We decided to do kirtan this weekend, Saturday night kirtan. I hope I see all the Jersey Shore people. All right. 6:30 p.m. Yoga Bohemia. North
Isabel
Beach.
Bilodeau is going to her first kirtan in her. This is crazy because, like, when I think of Isabel Bilodeau, she's got the Bhagavatam in her home. She's got like a whole altar there. She's always quoting nice stuff. I think, oh yeah, she's just
from
like a full-on
Canada. They're
devotee.
not allowed to leave their house.
She's never been to kirtan before. She's just been listening to Wisdom of the Sages. She needs
It's
to go to-
amazing.
This is a big day.
It's amazing.
It's a big day.
There's a lot of people.
Hope it's a good one. It might be a bad one, but let's just let it go if it is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people got into bhakti from Wisdom of the Sages during the pandemic, so we've never been out of our cages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We got to do that picnic you were talking about yesterday, by the way.
yeah. Let's do it. Zoomers versus others, softball game
Oh, we could do that.
versus the Californians.
Or like you're into all those kind of games, like where you get the burlap sack and you jump around.
I actually am. I'm like an expert at arranging children's birthday parties. Forget it.
Tug of war, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm also good at treasure hunts.
All right.
Okay, let's do this, Stupid. Once you get frivolous, the whole show falls apart.
Right.
I'm allowed to get frivolous. You got to keep it on track. Mara's like, yeah. Okay.
So we're reading. This is we're on chapter 13 of the third canto, and we read text 34, but let's read it again. This is where the sage, now that somehow miraculously, out of a sense of adventure and fun and the desire to fight and just carry out a certain purpose. It's all tied into this Leela, the Lord's play, right? He appears as this boar, straight from the breath of the Lord Brahma, who's confused. I want to serve the Lord, but I don't know how to do this. I just need to be directed by the Lord. And right out of his breath, comes the Lord in a most unusual form of a wild boar, and he's just running, and he's like flying through the sky. He's growing. He dips down into the ocean, picks up the earth, the universal ocean, picks up the earth out of it. He's flying through the air. He's got the earth on his tusk. It's a beautiful sight. And the sages from the higher planets that weren't under the flood, the deluge, now these are unique beings. These are wise people, and this is their reaction when they see that form. Text 34.
Text 34. All the sages utter with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of yajnas, sacrifices, all glories, and all victories unto you. You are moving in the form of you are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, you have now assumed the form of a boar. O Lord, your form is worshipable by performance.
Hold on. Is that the whole verse? What was that? Text 34?
It is, and we read that yesterday.
Yeah, so let's slow down for a second, okay? Very first thing these...
Gotta go fast.
Slow down. Slow down. So the very first thing that these sages say, it says, all the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifice. So that word is... it's yagna linga, which means like the form of sacrifice. So here they're saying the enjoyer of sacrifice, right? But this is an interesting idea that immediately when they see, they understand this is Lord Vishnu, and they indicate that by saying that one, you're the form of the personified Vedas, and two, in the hair holes of your body, that we could say pores, right? But like in the pores of your body.
Yeah, let's say pores.
Yeah.
Like hair holes.
Hair holes. But in the pores of your body, the oceans are submerged. In other words, there are universes that emanate from the body of Mahavishnu, of the first Purusha, the first person.
It's like Horton Hears a Who, Kaustubha.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. I'm not so... I forget what Horton Hears a Who is all about. But
Mara, tell him.
It's like there's a universe inside the universe, or something like
Mara.
Universes inside tiny.
And there's like a whole universe inside, like a little tiny leaf. I think it is
A clover or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like that. It's like Horton. So they recognize this wild boar flying through the sky is that Lord Vishnu. We get it. And when they think of Lord Vishnu, they don't have any hang-ups. They're not thinking, oh, someone is more powerful than us. I don't believe this, or what they think is we spend our life. You see, this is the idea. They mentioned the personified Vedas too. Like they study the Vedas. They recognize that the Vedas are like the manual for existence in the universe. If you're stuck here in this, it's not just like you buy some piece of equipment. It comes with that manual, right? You read the manual, now you know how to use the equipment. So how do I use the human form of life? What do I do with all the resources that are around me? Well, the manual is there. That's the four Vedas. If you want to live a happy life, they're going to help you do it. If you ignore the manual, well, then you're just going to have trouble. And so these are people that are like focused on the manual. And what the manual is saying, particularly when you go to the four Vedas, is if you want to be happy in this world, you have to recognize the role of sacrifice. That and it's designed that way for a particular reason. And by sacrifice, it means you give back. Just think of it that way, like right, with respect. And ultimately, you're meant to come to the point where you do it with love. But ultimately, we're meant to give back. And it's just saying, hey, if you go, it goes right back to what you were saying about the Kuvera, Nala Kuvera. What is it, Nala Kuvera and
Manigriva,
the two arrogant sons of Kuvera that were cursed to become trees. It's like if you just become arrogant and selfish, then this world is designed to make you suffer. It might not look like it in the moment, but it comes.
It comes.
Right?
You're going to be
takes
miserable.
you down.
I mean, we know that. Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
but we live as if it's not true, right?
Right.
We kind of glorify the arrogant person, and we want to become that person. But the Vedas are saying that doesn't lead to what leads to happiness is giving back, and so that should be done like regularly, daily. And so then there are acts of sacrifice. They're actually like meditations. They're offerings, but it brings one's mind and shapes one's mind to understand the truth that the jiva, the soul, is designed to serve with love. So sacrifice is there in the Vedas for people that still don't fully get it. They want to enjoy the material world. Okay, do it in such a way where you're giving back, and this is going to help shape your mind in a positive way. And so these sages, they were onto that. They knew it. They had complete faith in it. They followed that. And when they saw that boar, they said, that's the one that we've been sacrificing to all along, right? You are the Yagna Linga. You are the object of sacrifice. You're the ones that were meant to sacrifice to. And now what they're going to say is beyond that, all of the ingredients of the sacrifice, you've provided it all. So not only are you the one that we offer everything to, you're the one that's given us everything to offer, you know. So they're showing their appreciation for this, but all of it's coming in the context of this idea of Vedic sacrifice. So let's read right through to text 39.
I love the idea of this Tapaloka, and Jana Loka. These they're like planets of higher beings.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing their,
Just doing their thing. You like to visit there sometime? Walking around
it's
there.
It's like what we talk about, like heaven. But there's like activities, and there's people, and they're in meditation, and they're swimming in a lake. I don't know what they're doing all day long, but I just like this concept.
They're doing sacrifice. They're chanting mantras, right?
Higher. I like this concept of higher beings on their own planets. We're not qualified to go there yet.
I think if you and I went there, it would be really awkward. It would be like, they'd be like, why are you screwing everything up? Like, everything's nice here. We're like, hey, man, this is great. And would you calm down, please?
Well, it's everyone's like arrogant about there. Yeah, you should check out this place, or, about our situation. We think we got it so good. The ego can go there all the time. But like Earth is like not even a higher planet. It's like a middle planet. It's not a hell, although there are places that appear like hell.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not one of the lower planets. But everything is so relative that you go to a higher planet like Jana Tapaloka, and you're like, what the hell was I so proud of? Earth is a mess.
Yeah.
Even Earth before the Industrial Revolution, before everything was polluted, it was still like low-brow planet, sort of ghetto.
Oh. Well, it is interesting, like we were just reading earlier, that Bhakti-yogi, the song of the earth. Look at our lives from the perspective of the earth. That's what's happening in that book, right? It's like, here, you want a different... Bhagavatam's always giving us different perspectives, right? Even kings, they think they're powerful. Look at it from the perspective of the earth. The earth's like, I see you guys come and go left and right.
Oh, that was another thing I wanted to share too. It's like the earth is just witnessing all these kings trying to dominate her, which is impossible because they're all about to collapse. Yeah. The earth is like, try your best. The Romans are trying, the Moguls are trying, the Turks are trying, and they're all like Ottoman Empire are trying. And the earth is just witnessing, okay, try. You're going to conquer me? Good luck. Yeah. And then they just like centuries go by, and it's like a joke. You can't conquer it. Earth is just witnessing. We're going to pollute you.
Yeah, it says Hasati. This is the first verse of that chapter, the third chapter of the 12th canto. Sri Shuka Uvacha, Shukadev Goswami said, Dristva, observing Atmani of herself, Jaye, in conquest, Vyagran, busily engaged Nripan, the kings, Hasati, Boo, the earth just laughs.
All right. Right? Time for more Shelter lyrics. Shelter, Hands of Time, lyrics.
You got something about the earth laughing?
Of sorts. Want to hear a good song? This is a song that never got popular, but I like it. I like the lyrics.
Go, hit it.
What the hell? That's
What's
not us. Let me pull this up.
More popular things are popping up in your search.
More popular Shelter. Homeless Shelter. Shelter, Hands of Time lyrics. Let's see. It's called The Hands of Time. Okay. All of our heroes, they were forced to go. like all the people that we really look up to. Their wealth, strength, and glamour they were made of. Where is it now? Profit, position, prestige, and name. All that was valued, but was it a gain? It seems I best refrain from all that nonsense that won't remain. You see, it seems like a crime, the hands of time. It seems like a crime. All of the kings and all of the things they thought they possessed. As time ticks by, they soon realize nothing could be kept. Even the beauty of the body. What to speak of the strength of the strong? We were wrong. It's gone. So tell me, to whom did it belong? That was the whole.
point. Nice.
You like that?
Nice.
That's the
belong.
Bhagavatam also. That's the story because it goes into the whole thing about the body and like, is it even your body?
All right.
Whose body is it? Did you create the body? Can you maintain the body? There's people that purchase your body. Sometimes they purchase it, like, or they kidnap your body. Who does the self own the body? Can the self maintain the body forever?
Just for a few moments.
Right. Seems like a crime in the hands of time. This world's a mirage that we embrace. Imagine embracing mirage with our love and energy, collecting and protecting all that we see. But it's a sucker's bet. We get upset, filled with these heartaches and regrets. The best investment I see is something to hold on to permanently. No one ever liked that song. It was a good song.
I like it. Raghunath Capo, people, the bard
Come
of his
on, people.
generation.
Give
Let's
something.
hear it for him.
I think Mara could be hardcore.
I think Mara liked that song.
Did you see
Look at her
Mara
face.
just like, oh?
What did you think?
She's
of
already
the
got her
lyrics?
black Simon's Catering outfit on. You're just like,
She's wearing white now.
well, I think she's changed. Yeah,
she's turned over a new leaf.
She had one guy working there who refused to chant 16 rounds and wouldn't put on the new white outfit.
He went down.
She just like, we're going to have to let you go. If you're in this kitchen, 16 rounds only, offering our food and sacrifice. She makes them do akshman, you know? Because if you don't know what akshman is, you put water, you put sacred Ganga water, you drink the water, you chant mantras. If they not allowed in the kitchen unless they do akshman and have their rounds chanted. Nice. High standards in that kitchen. Everything coming out of there is like none different than Lord Vishnu. All the food coming out.
And that's why they're number one in Columbia.
Columbia County. And they're encroaching on other lands also. They want number one in Dutchess County, Orange County, Rensselaer County, they're Westchester.
All right, Raghu.
Merit's all temporary. Your success is all temporary. Okay.
Keep going. Text 35. The sages continue. The sages from the higher planets continue to speak.
Text 35. Oh Lord, your form is worshipable by performance of sacrifice, but souls who are simply miscreants, right, acting like miscreants, are unable to see it. All Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others, are in the touch of your skin, in your bodily hairs. In your bodily hairs is the kusha grass. In your eyes is the clarified butter, and in your 4 legs are the 4 kinds of fruitive activities. Mara, can you just wiki up kusha grass, please? Just want some details on kusha grass.
Kusha grass. But what this verse is saying is they're saying all the different ingredients of the sacrifice. These are traditional things that are used in sacrifice. It's all coming from you. Everything that we have that connects us, you're providing it for us. So not only are you the one that we're offering it to, you're actually supplying everything that we offer. All right.
Do you think
it's also Raghu? It's also known as halfa grass, saltreed grass, tall, tufty, leafy, perennial grass branching from the base. What would you like to know about it?
Is it big? Is it like a pampas grass? Is it a big grass?
It's a big long grass.
Big ornamental grass.
It's tall.
It's tall. Okay. Is that where they get the kush incense from? You think?
Well, that stuff's green, but you never know.
Maybe.
It's also used to treat dysentery.
Good to know.
Yeah.
It's what they create the mat. You know, you sit on a kusha mat. You know, when you do puja.
Yep.
And Wikipedia also says that kusha grass is specifically recommended by Lord Krishna in the Gita as part of the ideal seat for meditation.
There you go.
Right? It is from the Gita as well, right? You
Yeah.
must in the 6th chapter. Okay, text 36. O Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostril is another plate of sacrifice. Your belly is the eating plate of sacrifice. Another plate of sacrifice is the holes in your ears. In your mouth is the Brahma plate of sacrifice. Your throat is the plate of sacrifice known as Soma, and whatever you chew is known as Agnihotra.
So
Moreover,
yeah, everything, we're looking at your form, and we realize like all our offerings are made unto you in different ways. All the different, we've been doing these sacrifices, but it's all going to you and to your senses. Right?
so all these higher beings are now having darshan
Yeah,
of the object of their worship.
they're excited.
It's going to happen to you one day, Kaustubha.
Big
Kaustubha's
boar's
just
gonna
be
fly.
walking down Central Park chanting japa, and Krishna's just going to be sitting there like waving. You've been waiting for this. Here I am. What? He's going to disappear from his vision, and Kaustubha's just going to be walking around Central Park. Where's Krishna? Where's Krishna? Like a madman. Okay, 38. Oh, I always get these verses.
No, 37.
Oh Lord, 37. Oh, okay. Moreover, O Lord, the repetition of your appearance is the desire for all kinds of initiation. Your neck is the place for 3 desires, and your tusks are the result of initiation and the end of all desires. The tongue is the prior activities of initiation. Your head is the fire without sacrifice, as well as the fire of worship, and your living forces are the aggregate of all your desires. O Lord, your semen is the sacrifice of the Soma Yagya. Your growth is ritualistic performances of the morning. Your skin and touch sensations are the 7 elements of the Agnistoma sacrifice. Your bodily joints are the symbols of various other sacrifices performed in 12 days. Therefore, you are the objects of all sacrifices called Soma and Asoma, and you are bound by the Yagyas only. Oh Lord, you are the
text. Now this text is an important one right here. Text 30.
Okay, ready? Take this in.
Take it in.
Oh Lord, you are the personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns, and sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you as the supreme spiritual master of knowledge in bhakti, or in devotional service.
All right. So we can read Prabhupada's commentary, but just there's a very brief commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this. He says, this is what the sages are saying. They're saying, although you are the form of all causes on the path of karma or sacrifice. In other words, in the Vedas, there's the path of karma or the path of sacrifice. I can do the right ritual, adopt the right pious lifestyle, and good things will come to me. The good material things will come to me, right? Health, wealth, happiness, rains for my crops, etc., etc. So though you are the form of all causes on the path of karma or sacrifice, by inaugurating all of its aspects as your pastime, and that's what they've just been saying about you inaugurate this process. That's talked about like in the 3rd chapter of the Gita and all that, right? Like this whole process of sacrifice is being laid out by Lord Vishnu. It says, so, and I'll read again, though you are the form of all causes on the path of karma or sacrifice, by inaugurating all of its aspects as your pastime, by bhakti, not by karma, right? But by bhakti, by devotion, by love, by bhakti devoid of desire for the results of karma, one can realize you. One can understand who you are. Right? By bhakti with no desires for material results, and that's called vairagya or renunciation, one conquers the mind, atmajaya, right? Victory over the mind. And by that, one develops knowledge of you. You should give knowledge by which we can attain you. As it is said in the Gita, dadamhi buddhi yogam tam, I give the intelligence by which you can realize me. So here we see the sages that they understand this world of karma, the world of sacrifice. This is called piety, right? It's just like being a good person, not being an arrogant creep. You know, I still have material desires, but I'll do it in such a way where I recognize God's providing everything. I'll show some appreciation, some gratitude. I'll live a good life. I'll be kind to others, and I'll reap the good results in this world. That's like one level of, like, you know, civilization, right? Just like becoming a decent human being. But now the sages are pointing to something higher, that one can actually have a relationship with this divine being. And that's realized by the pure mind, which is freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. And so, in other words, we want that mind to become pure. And pure of what? Pure of material desires, pure of selfishness. And that we cultivate through a particular sacrifice, particularly in this age. You know, all sacrifice is meant to bring us to that level, but this is the most direct way, is by chanting the names of God, right? That we purify the mind of those material desires.
The purpose of the ritual.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other rituals, lesser rituals, rituals to gods, rituals to ghosts. When we speak of sacrifice in the Bhagavatam or the Gita, we're not talking about, you know, Kaustubha in his apartment, you know, Santeria cutting the head off a chicken. That's not what we're thinking about.
We're not doing that.
There's Santerias. It's so crazy. It's not crazy. It's just worshiping of ghosts, worshiping of spirits, worshiping of gods.
It has a strong tamasic element.
Yeah, there's rituals in all the gunas. These are spiritual rituals, and it's a sacrifice of our thought, sacrifice of material elements, sacrifice of our speech. So don't let that word sacrifice freak you out a little bit. Like, what am I getting into? They're always sacrificing stuff. Yeah, we're sacrificing our time. We're sacrificing our words. That's what we're sacrificing. What does that mean, sacrifice your words? Stop talking about all the nonsense you're talking about all the time. And talk about the glorification of Vishnu. Talk about the glorification of the devotees. Talk about the glorification of things that are actually going to uplift you, instead of all the coming out of your mouth.
Well, you know, just think about it. Like, love is expressed through sacrifice. Like, say there's someone that you love and that loves you, but someone else is thinking they're not such a good person. You know, maybe it's due to something external, like maybe they just don't like the way that person dresses, or they don't like the way that, you know, oh man, that guy's got like tattoos and this, or you know, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But then the person comes back and then they say, no, you don't understand. When I was like down and out, this person stepped up and gave to me, gave of their time, gave of their energy, gave of the they sacrificed, right? It's because they sacrifice. It's like that sacrifice. You know, we can talk the words of love, but it's actually truly expressed through sacrifice, right?
I like
when
that.
I give, when I offer my time, when I offer my energy, when I offer my resources, it's a concrete demonstration of one's feelings. And so therefore, you know, built into the universal system is the idea of sacrifice, right? Give back.
Love is an action. Love is an action. Kaustubha-das, write that down. Love isn't a feeling. It's a. You talk of love. Love is an action.
Right. You know, why don't we read this purport? It's a short one. Why don't you read it quickly?
Can I give a Sanskrit? This is something, a word that
Sanskrit,
everybody should know, and people may not know it. Write this down on the board. Sankirtan Yagya. Sankirtan Yagya.
Oh, that's
This is the yagya of Kali Yuga, the sacrifice of Kali Yuga. San means like sangha, we coming together. Kirtan, we know, is to sing or glorify and worship. Yagya, it's the sacrifice of coming together and singing. That is the power. There's power if you just sit home and sing, for sure. You start to sing with other people together, powerful stuff happens. That's the Sankirtan Yagya. Yagya is Yajna.
Now, this is the last paragraph of Prabhupada's commentary on this verse. He says, one has to conquer the mind. That's what yoga is, right? Where you overcome the obstacle of the mind for the purpose of the self experiencing its own true nature. So he writes, one has to conquer the mind, and one may do it by following the Vedic rituals and by performing different types of sacrifice, right? In other words, my mind is going towards arrogance and selfishness. The rituals of sacrifice are bringing the mind back to like, no, by nature I'm a giver, reconnect, I'm dependent, reconnect. So he says the ultimate end of all those performances, right? There's the Vedic rituals in the Vedas, and then there'll be different kind of rituals of renunciation or practices of renunciation, and for the Jnana yogis and etc. But where are they all leading? The ultimate end of all those performances is to attain bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord. Without bhakti, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The original Personality of Godhead, or his innumerable expansions of Vishnu, are the only objects of worship by all the Vedic rituals and sacrificial performances. So this is reconnecting us to the root of all existence. And in this age, we're so weak at doing it in all of its different forms. But the one way that we're given to do it, that's like the compensation for our disturbed minds, is this practice of Sankirtan Yagna, right? That we come together, we sing these mantras together, we absorb the music and the communion that's happening, right? Like the community experience has the power to bring our minds deeply into that mantra, where normally we have a lot of trouble doing that. And it becomes a very powerful and effective practice of yoga.
Special K.
Yeah.
Special K. That's what I call him. Special K. Special K. You know what I've noticed is in Kali Yuga, if I was to add one more like verse to the Bhagavatam, 12th canto, and the problems with Kali Yuga, people not only are unlucky, misguided, and always disturbed, they isolate. In Kali Yuga, people isolate. With technology, it's very easy to isolate. You're going through your stuff, you isolate. You're angry at people, you isolate. You're getting your heart broken, you isolate. It's very easy to isolate. I deal only with people on screens to isolate. And in that isolation, we become more and more disconnected. And the Sankirtan Yoga, it sort of like breaks this whole thing down again.
Well, it's so interesting you say that, right? Because like we've mentioned, like first canto Bhagavatam mentions, first chapter, is that our minds are always disturbed in this age. It's our common setting, and you see play out everywhere. And our tendency is to like, you know what? I don't like humans anymore. Like I like my dog, but I don't like any human.
Right? Like, yeah. I got news for you. If your dog could talk, you wouldn't like him either. So I had this experience. I was practicing a little Sankirtan Yagna yesterday, right? Yesterday
was like
on the floor.
Yesterday was like 107 degrees, like real feel in New York City, right? It was like
you're feeling it
hot, burning hot. Yeah, but those Sankirtan devotees in New York, they go out every day, right? So they went out to Union Square. I spent some time with them, and my friend Kalia Krishna was singing the kirtan. Now, man, Kalia, he's good. It's like he's a humble person.
It's humble. I know.
He's a humble, gentle soul. And when he chants,
Do you know Kalia was kidnapped?
Yeah, I know the whole story.
Do you know that? He was kidnapped.
Yeah. But that's another thing.
That's another story.
That's another
Sorry. Didn't mean to take your train off the tracks there.
No. But so he's chanting, and he's chanting. I can see he's chanting from the heart. I can feel it. I can hear it, And I'm sitting there, and I'm chanting. But, when you chant in public like that, particularly like, they always go to these kind of like highly populated areas like Union Square, right? There's just people walking around left and right. And the normal mode of the mind is to think of all those people, like in a sense, to judge all those people on sight, right? Like the mind just gets caught up in it, like, oh, that person's attractive, that person's crazy, that person looks cool, that person looks like a complete moron. What a jerk that person seems like.
Right. Just living in your mind.
Yeah, that's
with
what
all
the
these
mind
old
does.
stories and these old echoes of identity and what is good and what is bad. It's all echoes of their ego in the mind.
Echoes of the ego in the mind. Oh, that sounds like an Emerson, Lake and Palmer song or something like that.
Echoes of the ego in the mind.
do. Rush or something. Okay,
that's a Rush song.
That's a Rush song.
Rush was great.
All right. So I'm sitting there and I'm recognizing this is pitiful. I'm just sitting here like thinking about the people that are walking by, judging them externally. What am I doing with myself? So I got inspired. I got inspired by like the purity of Kalia's chanting. And I said, I need to sit here and chant this name from my heart. Like I need to see every living being going by as my friend, right? Like
powerful.
Right. Try this at home, right? Go out and do, well, not at home. Go out on the street and do kirtan, right? And then you sit there, and with every single person, no matter, you get every variety in New York City. You go to a place like Union Square, you got people that are like super wealthy. You got people that are entirely destitute. You know,
Right.
you got people that are like drop dead, gorgeous, sexy, like crazy, and then you got people that are like deformed in different ways. You know, it's like everybody is just like, you know, you got like full varieties of people. I want to see every single. Some of them are like crazy, like seriously angry. Some of them see this kirtan, they think, "Oh, this is so nice," you know, like these people.
You
it's so
really
nice what
see
they're
how
doing.
it affects different people
Yeah,
in different ways.
and
Some
other
people are
peop-
angry at the kirtan.
Yeah,
Why?
a lot of people are, yeah, what are you doing here? Or just like, what a bunch
What
of
are you doing?
losers. You know, it's like, I'm going to see every single one of them like my friend. And from my heart, I'm going to chant this mantra with a hope that in some way it'll serve them, it'll reach them, it'll touch them. And that's my meditation. I just sit here and I meditate like that. I tell you, Raghu, I never felt so good, right? It was just like, it's kind of like you're eating junk food and you just get sick, you know, and then you finally give it up and you start eating healthy food and you realize this is delicious. This is actually
Yeah,
real
this is
food.
what I should be eating.
Right. This is how our mind should be engaged. Every living being is a pure spark of spiritual energy, is a spark of God,
No,
and they're my friend. You know.
I almost wish you could write this out into a book, the Kaustubha-gita. But this is what happens. It's first is pollution, and then you're listening, you're getting intrigued by the kirtan, and then you're thinking, you know what, I'm going to sit in this kirtan. And all of a sudden your mind starts to become transformed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can still sort of be all over the place. And then you go to the next level. The next level was some Krishna guy grabs you by the wrist and says, "Come on, let's dance." And you're like, "I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this." And then you start dancing, and that's when you can no longer you lose your self-consciousness. And I'm looking around the Zoom
Lose your
screen.
mind.
Some of you guys have never danced in kirtan yet. You've sat in the kirtan, you've put your hands in namaste in the kirtan, you've sat in meditation in the kirtan, but you've never just thrown your hands in the air and jumped up and down in a silly way in the kirtan. And I
Isabel
especially say
Bilodeau,
silly.
you could dive in on your very first kirtan and get crazy.
Yeah,
She's
Isabel
ready.
Bilodeau.
She's ready.
And there's something about where you shed your ego.
Yeah.
You know, it works better if you can't dance, right? Because you got no one to impress with your bad dancing. Because if you can dance really good, you're like, well, I'm a good dancer. This is going to be good for me. Wait till they see me dance. But if you can't dance and you're just like dorking around, but you're doing it from your heart, I think there's something extra beautiful about that. Right, Mara?
Dorking around for God.
Yeah.
I think I've
Note that one down, Mara. Dorking around for God is the only one in this
Yeah.
in this Kali Yuga.
I think I've thrown Mara
So
in
what-
a couple kirtans, Kaustubha.
True.
You've
Have I?
thrown her in.
Yes.
Yeah. Whiplash.
Yes.
But that's it. In this age, this is our method. That all we have to do is just get together with others, try to see everyone as your friend, chant these holy names and dance together, and let go of all of our resentments and all of that disturbance that's in our mind. You know, this is our path. And speaking of kirtan,
Kaustubha, you know who I dragged in kirtan? Famous story.
who?
Bhakti Henry. Haridas.
Oh, well, come on.
He used to come
Yeah.
to our Harinams, our chanting in the streets when we were monks. He used to come, you know, he used to just watch. Dressed very nicely, sophisticated Henry, like watching the kirtan, you know, clapping his hands.
Sophisticated Henry.
And I'd be like, grab him. I'm like, come on, start dancing. He's like, whoa.
Do we have takeaways, Mara?
We do.
What you
Krishna
got,
is
Mara?
eagerly waiting for our call.
Krishna's eagerly waiting. That's a tattoo.
Waiting by the phone?
That's a
Yeah.
t-shirt. Krishna's eagerly waiting. Yeah.
Transform the sound, transform your life.
That's a
Okay.
t-shirt.
Replace the sounds that don't serve us. That could be the other
That's a
side of the
The
t-shirt.
t-shirt. Yeah.
back side of the t-shirt. That's the sleeve.
Sleeve.
Put aside our disturbed minds and sing together.
That's more than a tattoo. That's just like that's something you live by right there.
Yeah.
That's like like something you hang in your house. You'd sell
This
those in the
life, this life is shorter than a sneeze.
Did you say that?
I said that. Shorter
Yeah.
than a sneeze. That's your life.
We are not possessors. As soon as I get it, peace comes.
You're not
Nice.
possessed. Man, a lot of wisdom today.
Yeah.
You were good today, Raghu. You were on it.
You were on
Something happened yesterday or this morning. You do more of it. Do more of it.
Okay, I was depressed. That's what I was depressed, and I read the Bhagavatam. That's what I did. Last night I was Sweet Baby Krishna. I was a little depressed. I read the Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Sacrifice is giving back with love.
Okay.
And-
nice.
Yep.
Love is an action.
Love is an action.
Love is an action.
Yes. That's my t-shirt.
Now, who's this little one over here with Lexi Crouch? Who do we got here? We got another youngster.
Oh, we got the dance cam going already?
Yeah.
Or just Lexa Crouch.
There we go.
Oh my God,
Oh.
this kid.